All right, so it's almost November. I think it's October 28th. We wanted to shoot a kind of a wrap-up video today at the camp to just basically show you guys where it got to year one. It was a ton of work, but it's looking really, really good. This was one of the latest projects been working on. Me and Will poured these concrete pillars, and then my friend J.R. Onken at Onken's in Astoria in Mason County, Illinois, they fabricated the steel and cut the antler tree and the Wildwood sign, and that's all core 10 steel, so it's meant to rust and then seal itself and then stay like that, because I wanted that rusty look. They use it in like bridge construction and stuff. So had that barn beam kicking around forever, finally found something to do with it, and wrapped it with a little bit of copper, and it should have lights up and rolling here this week. So we're gonna take you around the camp and show you the final product from the year. A lot of dirt to move. Been having some creative block with like designing a house. It's really hard to, we only have what we have to work with, because we got the lake and I want a road around the edges. I wanted a road around the edges so I can get down there and get around to maintain. And then we have to have our banks coming up to the grade of the house mowable. So until that was all done, it was kind of hard to visualize like how much space we had on that point. And so now that it's done, it's going to make it a lot easier. But we moved, I think he estimated he moved 10,000 yards of dirt. He was on a D6 for like, we got it ready with one of my little dozers and a big excavator. And then when he came, he was just pushing dirt. And I think he had like almost 80 hours in that D6 pushing dirt. And we filled almost the entire valley that used to have the drain tiles in. We filled almost that entire valley all the way up the draw. So, but it came out awesome. I'm thinking that the driveway is going to go right down this edge and swoop in, so it gets as much view as possible. And then the house will kind of sit, it'll be on the point, and then it'll probably wrap around with a garage on that right side. And I'm kind of debating whether or not to do a walkout on the side where the docks are at this point for various reasons. But anyway, let's go check it out. So I got on here the other day and I drilled wheat, and I got on all these side hills on the tractor. So they were perfect grade. I did have the door open and I was ready to jump out if it started rolling, but it did good. And I did the wheat because we cleared a food plot, which we're going to go look at here in a little bit down the hill and down the bottom. And there's probably 4 or 5 feet of topsoil down there. And so, once we build, we'll end up harvesting a whole bunch of that topsoil and bringing it up here. So these all have to kind of get redone anyway. And depending on if there's a walkout over there or not, a lot of that grade's going to get changed. And we'll go up here and I'll show you what I'm thinking with these hatchery ponds. But so it's not really totally complete. So I just want to get something on here to kind of hold these banks this winter, and I'll probably put up some silt fence and stuff. But it came out really, really awesome. Really awesome. Doug Leverton and Dave Chenoweth, Western Illinois' finest. This side over here at the boat docks, again, depending on whether to do a walkout or not, this needs to get reshaped a little bit in here. But we moved so much dirt in this holler, and we're going to do these hatchery ponds up there. And kind of what I'm picturing with these hatchery ponds is picture 4 rectangles like this. Like with a cross of grass. They won't be ponds with levees. They'll just be up there almost like big water holes that look like a baking sheet, 6 foot deep. And you'll be able to mow that cross in the center. And they'll each have a drain pipe sticking up. And all 4 of them will lead to the same big, like 8 or 10 inch pipe that goes down to the lake. And like at the end of the year, if I want to send those bluegill down to the lake, there'll be a pump down there that pushes water up to all the ponds, and then they self-overflow into the pipe. So they're always flushing the ponds out. And then when those bluegill need to go down there in the fall, just pop that pipe and it'll suck them down in there. So I'm thinking we'll probably do 4 of them, but he said the dirt needs to settle over the winter because it won't hold water. So that'll settle, and then we'll work some of this and shape it up and push it up there and get a nice big flat spot for those 4 rectangular ponds. I'm gonna electric fence the otters out. This is what I call the house plot. It's just past where you turn in to the building lot. It's also right behind us on the other end of the plot is where that chapel is. And so everything that side of the road, I'm gonna plant the grass so people can park down there to go down to that chapel. And everything this side of the road was a log landing a few weeks ago. Just planted it to cereal grains. Next year I'm gonna have a circle here for brassicas. And then this is pretty cool. This rub every year has been getting hit on this post. And I had these 3 blinds on the farm, and rather than get rid of them, I actually liked how like tight they were for gun hunting. And in the future, I've got some spots picked out where I'm gonna put them, I think 1 or 2 of them down in these holes for gun season, where it protects you from swirling winds. And then I got a couple spots for them to go on these bottom plots that are back up on the hills. So if somebody's gun hunting, they don't have to go all the way down into the plot. They can just sit on the hill. So we kind of refurbed some of these blinds, but in the time being, I just threw them on some of the plots for this year, and I'll eventually move them. But yeah, this is a house plot. I got some pictures of a family of otters the other day, and I get lots of bobcat pictures here. No big deer. Bro, as my son would say, bro. So this is, I got 2 irrigation pivots up and running this year, mainly to try it out. It was kind of late. I didn't get these planted until like August 20th. So, and they did really good, obviously. You can see on the very edge, basically what the brassicas would have looked like if they didn't get rain. And, but they did awesome. This is a brassica blend, and then that pivot over there was just pure radishes. And I had I think a mishap with my drill with the population over there. But anyway, next year there's going to be 8 of these half-acre circles on the camp, all under irrigation. So this is what they're going to look like. This is the Ranger House field. Obviously this line right here, everything this side is clover. Everything this side is alfalfa, and I actually seeded alfalfa and clover in these brassica plots with the brassicas, and you can see it all in there. And this way, next spring, it'll come on, and my guys will just bale this whole field like nothing happened. And then once they bale it early, 1st of August, I'll come in when it's real short. I'll no-till my brassicas into the circle. I'll spray the alfalfa, and I'll no-till more alfalfa. And then the following year, we'll just rinse and repeat. So we'll always have 2 circles of brassicas. So this thing's basically drought resistant. Clover and alfalfa beat the drought. The corn beats the drought. And then we've got the problem variety under the irrigation. This is deer strategy at its finest. So this is one of these tree koi setups, water hole setups. It's just a huge concentration scent going green to grain, and with the water. And you know, this is first year, and if you put these things in a concentration of scent, they use them. You know, you can obviously see the scrape. You can see them start rubbing that post. Chris hasn't seen this one. It's a goodie. It kind of reminds me of like those plots you used to see on like the Primos videos down south, probably just because it's drilled in rows, you know. But so this is, calling this the levee plot. It's down here below the levee, and basically this corner of the farm just did not have any kill setups, like to really, you know, if there's a deer in this area, have really high odds of getting them, especially in October. So this was a game changer, and there's already some deer on it that I didn't have elsewhere in the camp. And so what I'm gonna do, because it's kind of a stadium effect, and usually I don't really like doing plots like this, other than like little kill plots that are scent concentrators for the rut, you know, not like a big destination field like this, because this is like 2.5 or 3 acres. And but my plan next year is to do the whole thing in corn. I'm gonna have a couple more 8-foot boxes made, and I'm gonna have one made specifically for this spot that's on the jack stands, and that way I can move it easy. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plant this whole thing into corn, maybe a little green plot in the far end, and like a little one, you know, 1/4 acre or something. And then what I'll do is I'll have myself a trail that goes right through the center of this corn to the far end, and then I'll start mowing that corn, and I'll mow it back this way. And when I come off this hill, I'll always have this trail to walk in the corn in case there's these deer up in these hills, and I'll walk to the far end and I'll get in that blind with perfect egress, ingress, and then I'll just keep mowing it back this way, and I keep sliding the blind this way, and I think it's going to work out really good. The other cool thing is there's like the more major creek, if you will, or whatever, the bigger creek goes that way up the edge, and then this feeder creek that goes this direction, there's actually a draw up there on my property that's got this spring, and it's just flowing water out of it, which is awesome to have on here. And when you go down here where they meet right there, that branch going that way here in this droughts and stuff, it'll be dry as a bone, and this side is just flowing water, and it meets, and from there down it's just flowing. So that was a really cool find to have on the property, and kind of made a little, you know, spot for them to cross. Might hunt it someday, might not, but it's a really good camera spot if nothing else. So anyway, this is the levee plot. We're actually gonna, there's still some waves in here, and that's kind of by design. We're gonna come down here once we need the topsoil for the building lot. We're gonna level all this up and make a bunch of mounds and use the old 953 crawler, load dump trucks, bring them up the hill, and this is where we're going to get all our topsoil for the building lot. You know, I don't know that I'd ever get in a tree stand down here, but I purposely left like that cedar right there on the point, and then the other cedar over there, and then there's one over here. So left those as good tree stand trees. But it's very scenic. There's like a cedar thicket up on that hill. There's a cedar thicket up on that hill, and this hillside's all maples and hickories, and it looks really pretty from over there. Just threw that box in for the year. But that octagon box there will get moved up here onto this hill, like on the knob right there. And that way, during gun season, I don't need to go way down into the plot. I can just come right around the top, get in that little gun box, and blaze. Look at the eagle. That's good luck, dude. Dude, that was cool. So I just sprayed the levee for the last time the other day to kill all the last little bit of growth in the cool seasons. And that's just so it's ready to frost seed this winter. And probably try and frost seed some clover around the edges as a fire break. But really it's just so that I don't have to worry about maintaining that. And every few years I can just burn it. And it's about the best thing you can put on a levee. The turkey numbers have exploded. Like when I was here in turkey season in the spring, like there was a couple gobbles. I mean, but once these plots got in, especially like the alfalfas and stuff, I mean, it's just crazy. That bottom plot we were just at is like a zoo down there. There's a huge, every green plot area just has a flock of turkeys that's in it all day. And it looks like, to me, every one of them's got 10 longbeards in it. So from the air today, you'll see where I've mowed all the corn. It's October 28th, and basically what I did is each one of these plots, I took the acreage and I divided it by 6, and that's 6 months to basically get me through my last mowing, you know, into March or whatever it was, so that I've got food there through the whole winter. So I know, like, by doing that math, how much I can allocate per month. So end of September, I mowed that amount the first time, and that was this. And then sometime in the middle of the month, which was actually, I think it ended up being a few days later, it was probably the 19th or something, I went back around and I remowed the same exact area, and it's amazing. It literally looks like it puts out the same amount as the first time you mow it. And like I said before, I kind of moved the mower up and down so that some of the cobs don't get busted. And so there's still, you can see there's still a ton of corn from mowing this first area 2 times. So we're almost at November 1st, and as soon as that rolls around very systematically, I will plan on onyx my next mowing, which will be the same amount, that acreage divided by 6, and I'll mow the next amount, and then sometime in the middle of November I'll remow that area, and it'll get me all the way through the season. And so that's what's going on with the corn. So I want to show you these blinds. The color is obviously to match like the theme of the camp, the ranger house, the lodge, you know, the entrance. My new house will be similar. And it's just to keep it all looking the same. I actually really like it. I think it pops against all the colors. But these are 8-foot blinds. So I had one of these made for Kansas, a farm I have in Kansas this year, and it was like a light bulb went off. It was a complete game changer. In my opinion, it is the pinnacle of box blinds that we have out there right now. And the main reason why is because you only need one window to open to shoot. So in the center of each wall is a blacked out vinyl window, like on all our blinds. But the magic is when you're swinging around on that window, your elbow doesn't hit a wall like it does in a 6-foot blind and cut your angle short. So when I'm in that blind, if I get in that window that's over there to the left, I can shoot that tank plus probably, and I know this because I did it the other day because I was showing somebody, I can shoot that tank off the corner of the blind, plus I can shoot probably 5 feet to the left of it or so. And then if I come around to the other window that's on the right up there, I can get such an angle on it that I can probably shoot 5 or so feet to the right of the tank. So that eliminates the whole mental process of trying to choose a window and picking the wrong window and all this different stuff, which then allows us to put these other 4 windows you see, and those are viewing windows. So those have ceramic nano coat on the outside, and they've got, I think, 15% tint. So what that allows is it's dark enough where you can't see up in through it, through to the other side, but it allows super visibility. So when you're sitting up there, I mean, you can see so good out of there, it's insane. And it's so simple, it's so comfortable. Those blinds are probably 6 inches taller than the other blinds, especially for me, I'm 6'4". It's so much more comfortable. They're 8 foot, they're huge, super comfortable. They actually go up really easy. I don't know, it seems like they go up easier than the 6-footers. I think it's because you got that nice long edge to level. And so anyway, those are blinds that you can have. We can build those for you. We can kind of customize any blind that you want, but these are a game changer. They're a little bit more money, but once you just go up in one of those, it's instantly like, oh my God, this is a game changer. And they'll still fit on all the same flatbed trailers and go up with the same fork extensions and stuff. So now on the camp, on these box blinds, I literally customized the window layout to every single spot. So like if you were to look at different ones around the camp, you know, anywhere I did not need windows or feel like I needed windows are just solid walls or no windows. So everyone is customized to the exact spot. And then the final thing is that blind that I made for Kansas, I rigged up this redneck air conditioning, and it basically is a transmission cooler with a fan, a 100-watt fan, and a 100-watt solar system. And like in Kansas, I had a well that I used, and that same deal here, I've got that hydrant. So this is one of my insulated boxes. So anywhere on the camp that had a hydrant, the box is actually insulated. And what'll happen is I haven't put them in there yet, but there's a transmission cooler, solar system, and then there's 2 pieces of PEX go down to garden hose fittings. And so that well will be connected to the bottom, and then there'll be another hose that comes out and goes over that hillside. And when you get up there in the blind, you just crack a ball valve, and it runs that 52, 55 degree water through that transmission cooler, and you turn the fan on, and it literally exchanges it, you know, water to air exchange, and it cools the blind, it dehumidifies. I rigged up a little drain that caught condensation, so it worked. And so every blind on the camp that's near water is insulated and will have a redneck air conditioning unit in it. So we've gone to trap doors on all our blinds, including the 6-footers, and that's really just for, it's mainly for egress. I've got a bunch of Army netting coming, and I'm gonna wrap the bottoms of all these blinds so that I can get down and get out of here without these deer seeing me. And it's mainly for egress when this field's full of deer, so you can get down and get out. So I don't know if the camera will be able to translate, but if you come over here, you know, and you look at, you know, I'm way back here, and I literally could shoot, I said 5 feet, I could shoot 10 feet to the left of that water tank from right here. And then I move over to this window, and I get way back in here, and I can shoot easily right at the tank. So it's about a 10-foot overlap, and I've got a 30.5-inch draw. So for the average draw length, you know, the overlap is even better. So that's why the size is a complete game changer for like the strategy behind the design of these blinds. So I bought this 160-acre farm out in Pratt, Kansas, and there was this windmill was on it, and I had a local guy test the well to see if it was going to work, and it did not. So I did a new solar well, but while he was there, I said, well, if you got your equipment there, can you just lay that thing down? So I went out there with a box blind and equipment to set the place up, and I went home with an empty trailer, and we loaded that baby on and brought her right back from Pratt County, Kansas to Brown County, Illinois. Always wanted a windmill. It's a little sketchy getting it up there, which she's concreted in now. All right, so that wraps up a tour of kind of year one of working here at Wildwood. Been living here, we love it, it's awesome just watching all the deer and turkeys and stuff in the yard. And we got a lot done. Started when I went under contract in February, and a lot of the hunting stuff is all set up and looking good. So we're gonna have the house stuff going on, and you know, we're gonna be doing some more logging this winter and some invasive stuff hopefully here in the next few weeks with the drone. And you know, next year I'm gonna work a lot with the chainsaw doing TSI stuff and just trying to make more browse and continue to make this place better, and looking forward to seeing how we can recruit deer. I think a lot of these deer are used to being elsewhere throughout the year for food because they've never had year-round food on this place, or at least substantial amount. So now that they do, you know, got to train a whole new you know, herd of deer as they grow up, that this place is a place to be all year long. So looking forward to seeing what happens, and got a bunch of management deer to shoot this year, and some really good genetics, and we're just gonna keep on keeping on with them. So that's kind of what's to come, but it's been an awesome year, and thank you guys for following along.